Hello and welcome everyone. Today we'll be seeing the differences between the subkingdoms and infrakingdoms. Now, we have been doing the animal kingdom classification. There we saw that the whole of animal kingdom can be divided into two subkingdoms, that is Protozoa and Metazoa. This division is on the basis of the number of cells and cellular organization between the two. So let's try to see the differences between the Protozoa and Metazoa. So the basis of difference has been written over here. You can see under the basis of differences column. And now we'll see the differences between Protozoa and Metazoa. So the first point of difference is the number of cells. In Protozoa, they are unicellular organisms. They are unicellular, whereas metazoans are multicellular. Protozoans are going to be microscopic in nature, whereas metazoans are going to be large. Now, what is their cellular complexity? Obviously, if protozoans are unicellular, that means they don't have much cellular complexity. Rather, their organs are in the form of organelles only. Okay, so they have a simple body structure with organelles. Whereas if I talk about metazoa, they have a very strong cellular differentiation. They are complex organisms. Cellular differentiation. Next we'll see the centrioles. The centrioles are absent in case of protozoa. They are present in case of metazoa. The level of cellular organization in case of protozoa is cellular level, so they are only made up of the protoplasm, whereas in case of metazoa they have cells, the cells together functioning together, they have single function, then we call it the tissues. The tissues functioning together is known as organs, and then we can also have organ system. So this is their level of organization. Next, the physiological division of labor in between the cells. There is very little or no physiological division of labor between the cell organelles. So very little physiological division between the organelles. It is only between the organelles, whereas here they have very nice division of labor because the tissues over here are those cells which have same function. So in the first place, if they are having same function, they are coming together, so obviously they have well marked physiological division of labor. Next is reproduction. Now, the asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction both are there in case of Protozoa and Metazoa. In case of Protozoa, the asexual reproduction takes the dominant stage. Mostly they have asexual reproduction, and if they have sexual reproduction, they will be having a hologamy kind of sexual reproduction. Whereas in Metazoa, there is going to be sexual reproduction. It is common only in case of, asexual reproduction only in case of lower metazoans. In the higher metazoans, it is not so common. In sexual reproduction, they have syngamy, where there is only fusion of egg and sperm and not the whole organism. So that is the overall difference between Protozoa and Metazoa. So we saw the differences between the subkingdoms Protozoa and Metazoa. Now we are going to see the difference between the infrakingdoms Mesozoa, Parazoa and Eumetazoa. So first difference between them is on the basis of their motility. Mesozoans are sessile organisms. They are stick to one place. They mostly stick to their host. So they are parasitic also in nature. Whereas parazoans are also going to be sessile. That is, they are going to be sticking to one substratum. They are not motile. But here Eumetazoa is going to be motile mostly. Okay. So parazoas are sessile, mesozoas are also sessile, whereas Eumetazoa can be motile. That is, they can move. Now the cellular organization in Mesozoa. Now they lack the tissues that is supposed to be there, but they are going to be having few cells in two layers. So not that they don't have more than one cell, they are not unicellular, but they have few cells and those are arranged in form of two layers. Tissues are absent. Whereas parazoa have poorly defined cells arranged in a group to form the structure of the parazoa. Whereas Eumetazoa have well defined cell which are arranged in proper tissues and then organs and organ systems. So they have well defined tissues. Next, the organs. In this case, in Mesozoa, there are no organs forming. Even in Parazoa also no organs are there. But as we see, they have well defined tissues in Eumetazoa, so obviously they will be having proper organs too. Next, the mouth and digestive tract. We can't see any organ in Mesozoa, so obviously we cannot see the mouth and digestive tract also. In case of Parazoa, there is only single opening, there is no mouth and digestive tract. Whereas in Eumetazoa, there is mouth and digestive tract. Now the kind of digestion. In case of Mesozoa, the digestion is intracellular, that is within the cell. Here also in Parazoa, they have intracellular digestion, that is the digestion is inside the cell. Whereas in Eumetazoa, the cells are going to be helpful in digestion, but it will be extracellular, that is outside the cell. Next, the body surface pores are absent in Mesozoa. They are also absent in Eumetazoa, but as we know, Parazoa is going to be having pores. That is their speciality. So they are going to be porous. Next, the final one is the body cavity. Body cavities are absent in Mesozoa. In Parazoa, though they have cavities, but it is not the coelomic cavity which we actually call the cavity, the true cavity. They have some internal cavities where the cells are simply loosely arranged to form the cavity. Whereas in Eumetazoa, the body cavity is not lined by choanocytes as in case of Parazoa. It is going to be there, but it is going to be in the form of mesodermal covering will be there for the coelom or the body cavity. So we have the body cavity with the mesodermal covering. The phylums included phylum Mesozoa only. Okay, here phylum is Porifera only, and here the phylum will be many. So we have two divisions, for example Radiata and Bilateria. So this is the overall division of Metazoa. So if I just talk about little about Mesozoa, because Parazoa and Eumetazoa we are going to be talking in details. So they have somewhat this kind of structure. Okay. There are layers of cells over here. These are all cells with their nucleuses. Which are known as oocytes, and this outer covering we can see is known as somatoderm. So this is a rough structure of a Mesozoa. That's all for the differences between Parazoa, Parazoa, Mesozoa and Eumetazoa. Now we'll also see the kinds of phylums present. So let's try to see the major and minor phylums and on what basis do we divide it into this thing. Now first of all, these divisions are basically on two factors: the number of species involved and individuals that are there in the phyla. Next, the community participation, that do they form ecosystem or communities or anything. So these are the two factors on which the major and minor phyla are going to be denoted. Now we have just talked about phylums. We have not talked about major and minor phylum. So major phylums are those which are going to be having higher number of individual species, and they are going to be also doing a participation in community or form an ecosystem. So they are going to be only under the major phyla. Those who have lesser number of species or they do not play any role in ecological communities, then they are going to be called as the minor phyla. Now basically on this basis we have 9 major phyla and many smaller minor phyla. So let's first see the 9 major phyla in invertebrates. So first of all, this is going to be Protozoa, Porifera, Coelenterata, Platyhelminthes, Nematoda or Nemathelminthes, Mollusca, Annelida, Arthropoda and Echinodermata. So these are the 9 major phyla. Okay, they have large number of species and they also contribute to the ecological communities. Now there are few minor phyla. For example, the Rotifera that we can see over here, Rotifera, Acanthocephala and Entoprocta. Other than that, there are others also. So some of the other minor phyla will be including Nemertinia, Pognophora, etc. So these are the major minor phylum. Okay, so now we are going to be seeing the description of few of the minor phyla. First is the Acanthocephala. Now we can see this is the structure of the Acanthocephala. They are going to be minute worm-like endoparasites. So they are going to be small like worms and they will be staying inside the host, so they are going to be known as endoparasites, and they may cause problem in the host. They do not have digestive cavity. They are not going to be having any digestive cavity. Next, they have a protruding proboscis. So protrubal proboscis. Proboscis means mouth. So we can see those proboscis. They are going to be, this proboscis is going to be, we can see, covered up with something called the hooks. This is the neck region, and this is the trunk. Okay, this whole thing, rather we can call it the trunk. We can see they have a recurved kind of spine. It is going to be in a curved way. So the spine is curved. So there is a recurved spine which leads to the proboscis, that is the mouth, and the mouth is going to be covered by some structure called the hooks. They also have a neck region. So next we are going to be seeing the entoprocta. The entoprocta are, we can see only, they are attached to a substratum. So they are sessile, they can't move. They have a body of a slender stalk and a calyx. So this is the stalk. So then they have a U-shaped digestive tube. Okay, just U-shaped. We can see there is one opening here, there is another opening here. So this is the mouth, this is the anus. They are mostly sessile and they are marine. They live in water. Their mouth is surrounded by a crown of tentacles. So we can see their mouth is surrounded by a crown of tentacles. That is all about the entoprocta. Next, the last one we have is rotifera. This is a rotifera. Okay, so we can see a rotifera over here. Okay, I hope you can see the structure. Now this rotifera is going to be microscopic again. They have ciliated crown. We can see the cilia. Okay, ciliated crown. So this is the ciliated crown. Then they have this cilia, we call it the tentacles. Okay, the tentacular structure. Internally they have jaws. We can see the mouth over here. They have internal jaws inside the mouth. Okay, now they have pharynx too inside the jaws, inside the mouth. And where they are found mostly in fresh water. So they are mostly fresh water or in marine water we can find them. So these are the different phylum, minor phylum. So with that we have finished off with the introduction to the animal classification. On the next day we will be studying about the basis of classification of animal kingdom. So that's all. Thank you.